morning and a pleasant welcome to another interesting edition of the program straight from the heart on Sky 107.1. Today is the 18th day of June 2021. My name is Matthias Labindi. At 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to be speaking with the chairman or president of the Politburo of Liberia, Mr. Victor Ballo. Victor Ballo joins us from 8 to 9 o'clock to talk about some national issues. Most importantly, a couple of days ago, Victor reported that officers of the Executive Protective Service took seizure of his phone and deleted photos from his phone that he talked about, concerning bad road condition along the Douala Belt. So Victor joins us at 8 o'clock to talk about a number of other things, including the organization. Last evening, we listened to the President George Weah, addressed the nation, and he spoke about the COVID-19 situation in the country, that there are some stringent measures that are expected within 24 hours to be taken, and he has mandated the ministries of health and justice to ensure that they employ some methods in ensuring that people adhere to the preventive measures. Haven't we had already, preventive measures, some measures in place? What happened? What led to us relaxing on those basic things that were put into place? Is it that the health ministry was not continuously, reminding the people, or the justice ministry relaxed on enforcing, these protocols? People are now getting in taxis, they are getting four at the back, two persons jamming at the front, and the KK3, the KK rider is putting somebody at the front, in the presence of, officers of the Liberia National Police. The justice ministry is right here. So the new variant of the COVID-19 is something that maybe the government is now taking seriously. But we're going to be listening to the president briefly, and at the same time, giving you the opportunity to participate. My name is Matthias Labindi.
The way we need to be, it's what we need in our love. Wokama, wena moto mweka, wokama, muna moto mweka, ufanu, unyamano, wokama, salune, labire, abore, guinea, wokama. Mama Liberia, wake up. Mama Liberia, wake up. Mama Liberia. Ladires, wake up. Ladires, wake up. Ladires, wake up in a break. Ole Liberia, wake up, oh, wake up and do something. Ole Liberia, try to settle things the way we need to be. It's all we need.
The world is a big place, but it's a global feeling. Let's show love and care to the world. There is hope, the world will find a vaccine. You will never win coronavirus. There is hope, the world will find a vaccine. You will never win coronavirus.
I know I cannot see, but coronavirus doesn't care who's blind or who can see. You wash our hands with soap and water every day, or use sanitizer. God, forgive us. Save the world and stop coronavirus. God, forgive us. Save the world and stop coronavirus.
I said together we can do it, yeah. Together we can make it, we can see ya today. I said together we can do it. Together we can make it, corona ya today, yeah. Wash your hand, I wash my hand. But I ain't spend my bread up, man. Don't touch your friend. Don't touch your friend. I know you never been up there.
The whole world is hate with a virus. Coronavirus, you can never break us. Together we can fight and overcome it. Let's join hands and unite the world.
We are resilient people. We will never be broken. We will never be broken with this coronavirus.
Our people and our nations. Yes, that's the way come. Hey, how did we get here?
Coronavirus never come here, Italy. Pulling up for you, Liberia for you. If we unite our brothers and sisters, we can heal the world. For real, anything positive, no negativity. For better, for worse, we can save Liberia.
Fellow Liberians, let us all continue to wash our hands often with soap, clean water, or use sanitizer at all times. The government of Liberia will stand by you, work with you, and work for you until we kick coronavirus out of Liberia, our motherland.
We can fight this coronavirus together. Let her kick it swiftly into the Atlantic Ocean. Right now. Everybody say right now. Liberians, we are strong. Truly made of African iron. May God bless Liberia from this deathly virus.
Yo, I'm telling you the truth, my people, that I'm Coloma. You heard about the virus, the people for Corona. You see people, they were making people get travel. No hugging, no shaking hands. Not to my meeting friends, don't take that chance.
There is hope, there is hope. Africa City,
How are you young and strong?
together we walk through coronavirus, COVID-19. Out of my Liberia.
Take exercise, keep the body heated. Together, coronavirus defeated. Don't shake hands, use sanitizer. No hugging your friend, it's serious. You already know. C to the O. Fellow citizens, together we are stronger. A union strong, success is sure. With God above, our rise to prove. We will overall prevail. With valor, unpretending, long live Liberia happy land, the home of glorious liberty by God's command. George Manuel.
The whole world is hate with a virus. Coronavirus, you can never break us. Together we can fight and overcome it. Let's join hands and unite the world.
You will not last long, coronavirus, as long as we fight it together. We are able and we will overcome you. Hey!
I know no hugging, no kissing, no touching, no more shaking. Wash your hand clean before eating and drinking. Keep your community clean, no more gathering. That you my youth, Corona is in town.
Our health worker then, nurses, doctors, scientists, and social workers. That fight corona with social distancing. We salute all of you.
Our continent in the world. Hate by this vicious killer. Corona. We will make it back as coming. We will find her. We will find her.
And that's what they play. Let's keep on watching our hands now, telling it to everyone, every day, every hour, cleaning the environment.
Corona is real. Oh, everywhere you go,
Wash your hands.
even your home.
Wash
We say
your hands.
Dr. George Manuel, President of the Republic of Liberia. We say thank you for the fight against coronavirus.
We say thank you to the Monrovia City government. Leo Jefferson Tamaguchi for your support to the musicians union as we keep coronavirus out of the world. The whole world is hate with a virus. Coronavirus, you can never break us. Together we can fight and overcome it. Let's join hands and unite the world.
Greetings, my fellow Nigerians. I am Mr. A.B. Shafa Kroma. Remember, I say coronavirus is real and deadly. Please follow all precautionary measures from the government and health authorities and be safe. Thank you.
Exclusively at GoLiberia.com.
That's right. Coronavirus is real, and it's all of us' responsibility to ensure that we fight it. And our energies, our togetherness, our resilience is going to help us going to eradicate this virus. Unfortunately, the cases are increasing, and most especially the new variant of the coronavirus. As you listen to the president, now you've not played that the president's voice yet, but I'm reading an internal memo from the Ministry of Health. You know, it says here. Ministry of Health memorandum to all directors, supervisors, program managers, etc. approved. Dr. Wilhelmina Jala, Minister of Health, through the Honorable blah 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 from James, MBN Human Resource Director, subject reduction of staff. Date June 17, 2021. So the Ministry of Health is already taking action to ensure that staff are reduced on the job so that there will be, of course, some people will be working from home. That's what the ministry is saying. So I read here. We present our compliment and write to inform you that the daily increase of the coronavirus in the country, coupled with the positive testing of some of our staff, the ministry has decided to reduce the number of staff working in the building by 50. This is to reduce the transmission of the virus within our community. We will highly appreciate if you can send in the listing of staff designated to be I think it should be to be working from home, and staff that will be reporting to work before the close of this working day. That was yesterday. Please be informed that all staff are asked to stay home tomorrow, June 18, 2021, to enable the fumigation of the building this weekend. So this is an internal memo of health. It is already taking action within, and I'm very sure this is a message, an indirect message also sent to other institutions and other professional institutions to ensure that staff are reduced. Is that what we called non-essential staff at that time? Well, but some people will be working from home. So the health ministry has taken a step. But last evening, I don't know about whether the president was going to address, I was just listening to a radio and got the information. Yeah, the president is going to be speaking at XYZ time. And the president said within 24 hours, there will be some measures put in place by the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Justice. He has mandated them to employ measures in ensuring that people adhere to whatever preventive measures. But I am even confused now than I was before. But anyway, let's listen to the president. After that, then we're going to be drawing some analysis from and give you an opportunity as well to participate. COVID is not play, and every nation, no nation should take it for granted. I think to some extent, despite the recognition of Liberia internationally, that Liberia put some measures in place, closed down the borders, and in fact, at the airport, it was the first country in West Africa to put some stringent measures in place and all of that at that time. And at the airport was closed initially. Until now, it's still going on. And the vaccine process that is even disturbing, that some people go and take they do their test, the COVID-19 test, not vaccine, do the COVID-19 test while traveling. They'll stay for a very long time. Most of them will not get the result and leave. These concerns have been raised by people. So whatever measures we put in place now, there's nothing, I don't know whether there's going to be any new measure than the previous. Wearing of masks, social distancing. And the government has been very selective in ensuring, I want to say that, selective in implementing this social distancing thing. I remember when COVID-19 just struck us here in this country, there was a program at the Memorial City Corporation. I still remember, I still reflect on that. There was a program at the Memorial City Corporation. Apart from that, if you check even at the Liberian Senate, you check at the legislature, so a lot of things, just happening. A lot of things are just going on. People just ignore, even stakeholders themselves. The president was doing a country tour amidst the COVID-19 situation in the country. He can't tell me that. It was just a couple of days ago he got to know that there's a new variant of the COVID-19. There was COVID, the president was doing a tour and mingling with people all over in the various counties. This man has not even, whether he has taken the vaccine, we do not know. And this is not a good start of leadership. Okay, I'll get back to that. Let's listen to what the president, what he said last night, and you can draw your deduction from it, and then we then move on and open the lines later. Go ahead.
I have today convened an emergency cabinet meeting to review the full scale of this concerning situation and to seek an appropriate plan of actions to be adopted by government to address this threatening situation. The Minister of Health presented the meeting with detailed statistics to give us a full awareness of the seriousness and aggressiveness of this new variant of the COVID-19 virus and the impact that it has begun to have in Liberia. According to the Minister of Health, Liberia has to date confirmed 2,862 cases of the COVID-19 virus, with 95 confirmed deaths and 12 suspected. However, it is alarming to note that since the third wave began, from the 16th of May to Tuesday, June 15, there has been a peak of 256 cases. The minister informed the cabinet that hospitals are presently full with people experiencing breathing difficulties, and that there are 50 patients in the treatment unit, 33 of whom are severely ill. Meanwhile, there are only 67,437 persons in Liberia who have taken one dose of the vaccine. This is far more alarming than a year ago, when we were experiencing our first wave. And we are told that this new COVID-19 variant is even more deadly than the two previous strains experienced since last March, when we got our index case. My fellow citizens, our nation has been faced with many dangers and challenges in the past decade, but we have always shown our resilience as a people to stand together, rise up, and gather the will and courage to confront and overcome these dangers and threats. I am of the strong conviction that united in a concerted and collective approach and backed by the full resources of government, we will once again prevail over this new pestilence. However, in order to achieve a successful outcome, we must once again take some hard decisions that will curtail some of our everyday freedoms, but always knowing that whatever measures we impose as a government are for the common good and well-being of us all. I have therefore mandated the Ministers of Health and Justice to immediately formulate new regulations and rules that will assist in curbing the spread of this deadly disease. These new measures and protocol, when announced within the next 4 hours, are to be strictly observed by all citizens and residents within our borders and will be rigorously enforced by the security forces where necessary. We would like to thank our bilateral and multilateral partner for your continued support and partnership in our efforts in fighting this dreadful COVID-19 disease that continues to plague our common world. Finally, my fellow citizens, let me acknowledge the dedication and resilience of our gallant health workers, especially those on the front line in the fight against the deadly disease. Your sacrifices are deeply appreciated by a grateful nation. I thank you.
That's President George Weah there addressing the nation. He spoke last evening. That, by the way, that was a pre-recorded, something. And I was listening. Initially, when it started, the national anthem, played. The entire production, it's just frustrating every time you try to talk about your country, how people handle things. We handling the president, he's still being pampered. I know that people should be prouding, like Timas will say, the president should be packaged, but I'm not too sure whether the people around him are properly packaging him. Well, right now we have a serious health issue, so we're not going to go into, his inability to still read 6-7 paragraph, of statement written, regarding the COVID-19 situation. Now, he spoke as if he's not been following the situation here in the country. There is still COVID-19. There was still COVID-19 in this place. The president launched his country tour. So all of that, we said, and now we're talking about the vaccine in the country. Immediately the vaccine entered Sierra Leone, Mara Bio was the first person who took it. He took it publicly. You know what message that sends across? It sent a message of motivation, inspiration. People got inspired that the leader is leading by example. If this president has taken the vaccine, maybe he did it in secret. Why is he being secretive about everything? He doesn't want to bring his asset public, because if he does that, his family lives will be at risk. Yeah. And now COVID-19 vaccine, you the leader who's supposed to motivate the people, inspire the people. Since the vaccine, the issue of the vaccine started, the only time we heard him talk about doing a county tour and moving around, speaking at the viral, areas, the counties. And there was a cluster of people in all the places he went. Is the government trying to say that he did not take into consideration everything during the county tour? That there was no COVID-19 in this country when the president launched his county tour? COVID was not here anymore. The cases were not increasing. The health minister was not reporting to the president. Is that what he's saying? Now, talking about, we have these XYZ 8,000 plus 2,862 confirmed cases. That's alarming. What measure, what extra measures, what new measures, what stringent measures can the government possibly put in place? Now, issue of adherence is another thing. The health workers, you listen to Mr. Chester Smith. Chester Smith was here with me on Nothing to Hide in the afternoon. And Chester said even the health workers, some of them are reneging on taking the vaccine. Why wouldn't they renege? The CRC of the country is not even expressing concern. It's not even expressing law for the people by stepping out there to take the vaccine and showing that this is how I think is better for us to lead. The vaccine is in the country. I am taking it. Now, some people came up to defend again that the president is not in competition with anybody about vaccine when they heard that Joseph Boakai took it and other stakeholders took it. Listen, we want to politicize everything. You politicize the health sector, you politicize the education sector, you politicize everything because it's our time. That's the notion. The president of a country, vaccine, you are talking about COVID-19. Our international partners have invested a lot in this thing. Right now, the GAC is saying it does not have the jurisdiction. It is not in its purview to investigate or audit the stimulus package distribution thing with WFP and Professor Wilson Tapper. So if we were to go back to the legislature now to request if the government goes back to the legislature during these kind of times, that the government will put in stringent measures, request for another support to reach out to the people. Already the first distribution was insincerely done by whoever led it, Professor Wilson Tava and his team. Now many people got it. The president is aware of that. Now you wrote a script, gave it to him, pre-recorded. When will this president avail himself to the press, local media? You know, he seems to be afraid of us. That I don't know whether we're going to ask him questions that he cannot answer. He's not prepared to have interaction. 3 years in his government, he has called no press conference whatsoever to have interaction with the local media. So therefore, they take him in one box. They do one script and give it to him. He reads it. They record, pre-recorded. Yeah, I do Adobe production, and the person who did the production did not do well, because in the first place, the president started speaking and all of that. By the time that should be faded. You fade that particular, national anthem below the president's voice, and later it fades out completely. And it just started abruptly, like somebody cut the theme song, the national anthem, and quickly brought in the president's voice. It started that kind of way, like he was not prepared. You could make it to sound like live something, like he was live, pre-recorded, no problem. But has the president taken the vaccine, his vaccine? Has he done it? You can lead like this. You can lead people. And when it comes to certain things, somewhere I heard an African leader, I think Nelson Mandela, who said, when bad things happen, leaders take the front. When good things happen, you take the back and the people enjoy. In our country, when good things happen, the leaders take the front. They take the $15,000, they take the $30,000, they take the $20,000 for everything. Everything good revolves around them. The bad things affect the ordinary people. Vaccine is in the country. Go and take this vaccine, Mr. President. The people love you. That's why they voted you. They say, if you ask two reasons why people voted George Weah. I was on the radio at the time and I was asking people, what do you think George Weah should be elected? Well, I just love the man. The people just love you. So whatever you do, they'll follow you. Why aren't you? No, you're talking about just 6,000 plus some people. 6,000 plus individuals have taken the vaccine so far, in which he said is alarming. And you are not among the 6,000. At least, thank God, at least some people talk about you, the president. You're not even among the 6,000 people who have taken the vaccine. So what possibly can you say to someone to motivate them to go and take the vaccine? Because you yourself have not availed yourself to taking the vaccine. 67,000, by the way. 67,437 persons in Liberia who have taken one dose of the vaccine. Is the president among these 67,437 people? Is that what he's saying? You don't blame someone for something when you just said you've not stepped up to do your part. You're president. What extra measures, what should we expect right now from the Ministry of Health has taken action internally to reduce staff to 50%. All right? You people started this thing. We said this thing from the beginning. When this COVID-19 thing started, the government started doing selection. This is a national embarrassment. Pandemic struck us, affected us in so many ways. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with MICAT, Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, had the mind at the time, the heat of the COVID-19, to say, all right, all the institutions that will cover the press conference regarding COVID-19, XYZ, sometimes they will take 5 institutions of their choice. Everything is not politics. When we put our passion and patriotic spirit in everything we do as a nation, as a people, I'm very sure we can make greater difference than everything politics, party, friendship. Here we are today. Here we are today as a nation. We are again about to tell our citizens to get back home. How are they getting back home? Those ones who make maybe $5,000 a month, if their bosses send them home to say you are non-essential, how do they survive? What does government have in place now? Within 24 hours, we're expecting some stringent measures to be put in place by the Ministry of Justice and Health Ministry. So, if measures lead us to a lockdown, is this government prepared right now to take care of the people in their various communities. Is the government paying for that? Let's have a conversation. Call us on the numbers 0777 107 0777 221 223 0777 107 0777 221 223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate. If you're there watching us live on Facebook, you can also call us on WhatsApp or anywhere you are around the world and join the conversation. We are streaming live on YouTube, Sky FM, and TV Liberia on our YouTube page. If you're sometimes watching us on Facebook and you're getting, getting some difficulty in, going through it, and maybe it's sticking, you just go straight to the YouTube and you certainly get us clearly, because the YouTube doesn't crack as Facebook does. So you're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107. Let's hear from this first person on the line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I think it will be necessary if they can fight, if they can share the fashion.
What is your name, sir? What is your name?
I'm William Kima.
Go ahead.
I'm calling from Central Monrovia.
Go ahead.
I think one of the best way to do the fasting business is to share everything there. So that as soon as you go there for any treatment, you get your fasting. That will help. But if people don't want to take it, some people don't believe that the fasting is working. And they gave it to her or
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your contribution. Let's move on to this other person. Call us on the numbers 0777 107 0777 107 0777 221 223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. Now, the government is about to put some stringent measures in place again. The Health Ministry has already started its internal action, thereby asking some of its, staff, like 50% of the staff, to stay home. Stay home, because they do not want to keep the building crowded. The building should not be crowded like that, and therefore they are asking the staff to get back home. Let's hear from this other person. Good morning.
Nataya, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Let me say good morning to the Liberian people. This is John D. Sumner, and I run the Simple River.
Let's hear you.
Nataya, thank you for the very important topic. The national issue. What Mr. Weir is doing this to the Liberian people?
The mayor does not have confidence. He lacks confidence.
The confidence is there.
Yeah, he lacks confidence. That's his problem.
And Nataya, some of all the ordinary people, we can be brave to sit before microphone. We sit on a lot of platforms to discuss national issue. Then the president that get doctor degree, a further journalist, I think he has some fear in him that some question will come to him, you're not able to answer in a different direction, and you bring the government to public. I mean, it's quite unfortunate. But this is, they are spending a day at the Capitol building. They have protocol observed by the security at the Capitol building. Before entering, you have your nose mask on before entering. This is serious. And what I'm sensing in Nataya, we are expecting sooner or later a lockdown. Yeah, people should expect that. It will be unfortunate for us, for our children, our own children. At this kind of time, when they call for lockdown and what have you, on a serious note. But on a serious note, Nataya, when this president, whenever addressing the nation, people could be on closed door. Somebody will care about and how they call it, we call out to him and record his voice and bring it to ELBC to play. What this president is doing this thing to us? Quite recently, he was in Lofa County, jumping among that crowd, talking loudly. But when it comes to addressing our nation on a critical issue, his brother High said, be on camera.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Tamba.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Mr. Tamba. Let's go on to another person. I know for a fact I know for a fact that yes, the government is going to take that action for a lockdown, but how prepares the government to take care of the citizens? Let's hear from this other person. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
This is DJ Loma from Kawa, Nigeria.
Mr. Loma, please go ahead.
Matthias, I told you in time memorial that this president doesn't have the leadership ability. Liberia only food is meant to the seat. At the end of the day, you'll see what we're going through. And that is the same old thing people saying here that, the men developing the country, the men doing this. Look, Matthias, the president embarrassed. He warned us, the Liberian people, to go back to a second down, lockdown, second time. But how will he come to tell the Liberian people? And what are the packages that he got for us, that he got for the Liberian people? Look, we have to be serious. If 15,000 they share among those people, they should have taken that money to buy more oxygen and equip the hospital. We saw India case or now small thing. People were laying down all on the street in car, they were treating people. Matthias, you go down to JFK or retention, they will tell you say no oxygen. Then you got the mind to take as an executive to give $15,000 each to each lawmaker, 100 and some more people. You couldn't take that money to each one of that oxygen. I think it cost $2,000 Liberian dollars. You know how many of that things are brought into this country? Easy to tell the people, say, okay, you're doing one as a president, as a project for your people. But each one of you from all the counties, you take that money, your buy oxygen for your counties. You think you couldn't help? But somebody say they take the money to go pay school building with it. At the time, the age and time, the kind of crisis that we eat, then President high himself young go to look, sometimes when you're talking to your children and yes, they say, go tell the people, say, I say this. They will not take it serious. But when they see you used to see man Erin Douglas Salih during the coronavirus. The Ebola. You used to see her on television, standing, addressing the nation, saying that this thing is not correct. This thing is hard. But why our president always high himself?
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Lome. Let's move on to this other person. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Matthias.
Go ahead, Mr. Siafa.
Yeah, my name is Henry Siafa, and again, I call as usual from Abuja, Nigeria. Good morning to the peace-loving people of Liberia. I listened to the program this morning, Matthias, and seriously, it's disappointing as always. We will never get anything good from George Weah. On a very serious note, during the COVID period, we expected the president to get in the front line, as everybody has been saying. But George Weah, as usual, the government lacked focus. Just recently, the issue of the $15,000 to each lawmakers. If only this government is a government that know what ready to do, that money will definitely be diverted to something else, equipping the hospitals, buying gloves, buying PPEs for people. Till now, it's frustrating that President Weah have not yet taken the vaccine. Like you were saying there, bros, you can't be the president and you always in the back seat. How do you expect the common man to go out and go and take vaccine? And he's not even ashamed to be saying, that is frustrating, this amount of people have taken the vaccine. Is he among the number? Is he? And the answer is no. So look, seriously, it's too disappointing. Now he cannot come out to tell the people to go for another lockdown because the Liberian people don't trust him. They don't trust the government. They don't trust the government. The first millions that was spent during the first time, they share among themselves. Up to now, no account of it. So I don't think the Liberian people will even listen if they come up with a lockdown. Seriously, because they themselves, they are not even focused. The government is not focused. All they want to do again, it will just be another way for them to steal from the people. So that's just my take on the issue this morning, man, Matthias.
I know. I sense your frustration, brother, but that's the country we have. Let's move on to this other person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I've been on the line for a very long time.
So sorry about that. Go ahead.
Matthias.
Go ahead, brother.
Hi. My name is Rajan Nimle, and I call from Monrovia. You see, Matthias, the way you're handling the show, I don't think that's the way to go. You should be writing the necessary checkpoint. The issue of the coronavirus is not a political thing. All right. Well, your question is the government prepared for a second lockdown? That shouldn't be the question on the radio. What you should be doing right now is to encourage each and every Liberian to take seize of the matter, because the coronavirus is not for the government people alone. It is a virus that can kill just anybody. So you should be encouraging all Liberians to brace themselves, put themselves together, and get prepared to go for whatsoever health protocol that will be put in place so that we can beat this virus for a third time. We've been doing it. We have to be united in fighting this. All right. But we're asking, is the government prepared for a second lockdown? We as citizens should be prepared at all times. At all times, we should be prepared. Because when we are united, this virus will never overcome us. But we divided through politics. I'm telling you, Matthias, it will get worse. It's not a political thing. And I hear some of your callers saying, why is it the president never and appeared on the live stream? Is it the president's face you want to see, or the message that he delivered last night is what we want to take? I think that's the most important thing. Seeing the president doesn't change anything. The message is the most important thing that we should follow. And he did that, and we all listened to it, and he addressed his people. The president has confidence, and I heard you, Matthias, agreeing to the other that thing. Yeah, the president lacks confidence. Who told you that? Do you know how many places the president went and spoke? Even dignitaries, warriors, where do that address his people? He said he lacks confidence. We should stop this kind of thing.
Okay.
We should.
Thank you so much for your contribution, my brother. Now, the question about whether the government is ready, that question is very, very in place. Because readiness, the people will always be willing to adhere to whatever measures put in place by the government. But in return, the government needs to also reach out to the people. The government employed that measure yesterday to reach out to the people. Unfortunately, many of them did not even see the presence of the government in their homes. Isn't that a question to ask? Let's hear from this other person. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, the issue about this coronavirus resurfacing. Matthias, let me be honest with you. Who will say this and that? Our officials are not doing anything to contain this thing. The people are not doing, they are not fighting this virus or with sincerity. And that's why you see things are going like this. You see the resurfacing of the news variant of virus now, and up to now, people say, do what they want to do. In a quiet area, and government is thinking of people trying to write down or take some measures. They will not hold. Like again, they want to just allocate another similar package money for them to we that in Brussels, as the people in Brussels, all the similar package that they put together to get people during the lockdown everywhere, taking things. It was not possible. We didn't get nothing. You see, and like why you don't want people when you see the truth, people want to say, are you like a losing dog?
No, it's okay. It's just good. They think about us, we're tolerant. So whatever someone says, just don't be insulted, that's all. So yeah.
That's all. The problem is that the president wants to, he's not media friendly. That's another problem. To come and tell the people what going to place. People are confused. Look at the rebound road. Coronavirus, the one that came from, that medicine, after the troops from Madagascar, the bear is. The president said, they want to give. Said, no, we take them the 1,000. So recently, the Minister of Information came and said, no, we didn't say anything. And the health minister said, no, and nobody questioned him. And you see how our people are. This is the problem. And when you talk to the two other people from the other side, you are talking now. Thank you for the talk on the discussion, my brother.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to another person. Call us on those numbers: 0777-777-107, 0777-107. A president who sits in office for 3 years cannot have interaction with local media. We have questions. Our questions cannot be directed to this president because he doesn't want to face us. Every time he's leaving left the country, by the way, every time he's leaving the country, he leaves out of a voicemail. The first COVID-19 situation, he did the same thing to us. He always have a voicemail. Someone is saying, what do you want to see? The president's face or the president's voice? You want to hear the message. If you read that entire statement and you look at it, there's deception in it on the part of the president. You talk about he's disappointed that 67,000 people have taken the vaccine so far. Has he taken it? Is he among the 67,000? Good morning.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, you're live. Okay, let's move on to this other person. So that's the question. Has he taken the vaccine? Leaders lead by example. No matter your love, I respect your love, your passion, your, how well you see the president and everything. I respect it. But when we're asking these critical questions, it's not about politics. It's about leadership. It's about somebody stepping up to be a leader. Let's hear from Cooper Passaway. Go ahead, Cooper.
Good morning, man. Good morning to the good people of Liberia.
Go ahead.
My name is Cooper Passaway, and I phoned this morning from District number 11.
Go
Let me
ahead.
appreciate this morning for the conversation. I also want to appreciate the president for coming out to speak to the nation. But I think, as you said that the section is on some of the lands that he said yesterday, because the president is saying that he's disappointed in people taking the vaccine, the number is low. So the bigger question is this: as a president, have you taken the vaccine? The answer is no. He's yet to take the vaccine. So I will motivate his lieutenants, his followers, his supporters to take the vaccine. Because we understand from the day of this presidency,
Yeah.
almost all the cabinet ministers wear dress code.
He's a man with power, Cooper. The thing about it, this man has serious, if not psychological, but he has serious spiritual control over his followers. So whatever he does, they will follow. Take the vaccine and see what people are going to do.
So the president went and fired convert people from Muslim to Christian because he built church. We saw a Muslim brother going to the church on Sunday celebrating just because they want to be around the president and following activities. So the president should come out today to take the vaccine. Because for me, on record, if the president does not take the vaccine, I'll go back and take the vaccine because he suggests that it's not good for my health. The president should lead it because the Madagascar health in the country. Nobody can tell who all took in the Madagascar health. Nobody can tell why it's unfolding. So the president should go to the courage and go and take the vaccine and publish it. They will motivate someone to take it all of that. Someone will take the vaccine. If God will go. Thank you this morning.
Thanks for the contribution, my brother. Let's move on to this other person. Morning. Good morning. We're a few minutes to go on this segment of the program. So we're asking these questions, and many times some of you see, journalists who ask these critical questions, that we just opposition or we think otherwise about the president. It's just about thinking outside the box. That man is my leader. I come here to Sky FM and I'm working here. If the leaders here do not, the administrators here do not do certain things, I'm not going to be productive in many ways. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, this is Samson Kape calling for Central People.
Mr. Kape, go ahead.
You see, Matthias, when this COVID-19 started, it was being political stars.
Politicize me.
Who uprightly said that COVID did not exist. And that report bad idea to the extent that people were not even observing the protocol of COVID-19. Let me take you to Brazil. In Brazil, the president of Brazil denied the existence of COVID-19. At the end, the country became one of the countries in the world that was devastated by COVID.
What's the point?
So, the denial of the opposition.
Look at the other man.
Opposition continue
What are you talking
to
here?
tell the public that this is not exist.
So what are you saying now, Mr. Kape?
What I'm saying,
Yeah.
say, Baba, whatsoever the president has come away. And then Baba is, he said,
So did I say anything contrary to that? That people should not have Baba what the president said?
No, you are not. No. I'm trying to get the message out to the public. Don't give that to the public. I mean, anybody who listens to me now will agree with me that the opposition has been very,
So let me ask you a question. Kape,
Yeah.
Joseph Baker took the vaccine. Did he say people should not take it? He said opposition. Who the president of the opposition said? Who the president of the opposition said that COVID-19 exists?
They may not take it, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
My man, thank you so much, Samson Kape. Thanks for your contribution. You see, Liberia, we are still running in cycles because many of us do not know. We don't know, our direction in terms of who to follow. Sycophants is killing us. To tell the president the truth, someone is bawling in their blood. Who's that little boy sitting on the radio saying the president lacks confidence? This man writes 5 paragraphs, he cannot read it properly. And they put him in one box, and he reads a statement. The producer also put on the radio with a lot of mistakes in it and put it on. In his very statement, he's reading the deception in it. And I get on the air and saying that someone is angry. Get angry, no problem. But the thing about it is that you are a leader of a nation, of this country. 14 counties in this country give you that mandate. If anything happens here, in terms of this kind of crisis we're going through right now, people expect nothing less than the president being the first. Marabio did it. It was on television. Do you know how many people? Now, if the president gets out there in the public to take that vaccine and uses that platform to speak to the local media, encouraging people to take the vaccine, what do you think is going to happen? Like Kupa said, I couldn't agree more. I never one day, I used to pass by that suit, in a boutique and think, I never bought it one day to wear it. The president started wearing that purple suit. Almost everybody. Now we have not even copied the other one from him. He put on a purple suit, he put on sneakers. What we copy from him is his fashion design, ability that we've copied that. Also, lead us now to taking the vaccine, sir. That's what you should do. That's what leaders do. Now, every time when something happens in the government, now also looking at it critically, the president did a statement, voicemail, left it with us. He wants to play it on ELBC. We capture it. The fellow who called and said, Matthias, we should be encouraging the citizens to what they call the statement are even played from the president. That is an encouragement by itself. All right. Let's talk to this last person on this segment of the program. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Let's hear you.
Yeah, the situation,
what is the name, sir?
I don't understand.
What is the name?
Yeah,
Go ahead. 30 seconds.
It's all happening. People are talking about passing the thing. Why are you talking about opposition? This is not opposition. It's the opposition, the one that encouraging the people not to take the vaccine. They said no opposition.
Well, the president was even discouraging the people to not take the vaccine is the president. He's the campaigner against the vaccine because he has not mustered the courage to take it.
Once you have a father in the food and you don't put a measure into place that you will follow, that's when the whole will be you. You are not taking the vaccine, and you tell other people to take the vaccine. Who will be encouraged to do this?
Okay.
And this is why you people are trying to tell the people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. We now join the Voice of America for 5 minutes of news. You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. At 8 o'clock, we speak with the president or chairman of the Politburo of Liberia, Mr. Victor Ballo. My name is Matthias Labindi.
This is VOA News reporting by remote. I'm Michael Brown. Voters in Iran are choosing a new president Friday, but voter apathy is running high as the Middle Eastern country experiences a coronavirus surge, an economy devastated by U.S. sanctions. Incumbent President Hassan Rouhani has served the maximum 2 terms in office. Multiple candidates have withdrawn from the race or been disqualified in the lead up to today's poll. Wednesday, 2 hardline candidates withdrew from the race, giving their support to another hardliner, Ibrahim Raisi, the dominant frontrunner. Political analysts say the likely winner will be the 60-year-old Raisi, who has the support of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Cybersecurity experts have been poring over the transcripts from Wednesday's news conference in Geneva to determine whether the U.S.-Russia summit will produce real progress in halting a wave of high-profile ransomware attacks. For most, the answer is it's too soon to tell. President Biden vowed to confront President Vladimir Putin over the ransomware, but while no breakthrough over cybersecurity emerged from the summit, the 2 leaders agreed to start consultations over the issue. Biden said experts from both countries will be tasked to work on specific understandings of what's off limits and to follow up on cyber attacks that originate in either country. As always, for details on much more news, we invite you to join us at our website, That is voanews.com, also on the VOA mobile app. Via remote, this is VOA News. Israel has launched airstrikes on the Gaza Strip for a second time since a shaky ceasefire ended last month's 11-day war. The strikes came after activists mobilized by the territory's militant Hamas rulers launched incendiary balloons into Israel for a third straight day. There were no immediate reports of casualties from the airstrikes, which were reported by local media and could be heard from Gaza City. Earlier, Israeli police used stun grenades and skunk water to disperse Palestinian protesters from the Damascus Gate in East Jerusalem, the epicenter of weeks of protests and clashes with police in the run-up to the Gaza war. The United States is investing $3.2 billion in the development of an antiviral pills, that is, for COVID-19 and other viruses that could spark new pandemics. The top U.S. infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, made the announcement Thursday at a White House briefing as part of a new initiative called the Antiviral Program for Pandemics. Pills for COVID-19 are already in development stage and could begin to be available by the end of this year if clinical trials are successful. Pharmaceutical companies such as AstraZeneca and Pfizer have begun testing antiviral medications in pill form. President Biden signed into law Thursday the creation of a new federal holiday commemorating the end of slavery here in the United States. Juneteenth, National Independence Day, will be observed each year on June 19th. Biden said by making Juneteenth a federal holiday, all Americans can feel the power of this day and learn from our history and celebrate progress and grapple with the distance we've come and the distance we have to travel. The holiday marks the day in 1865 when Union soldiers informed a group of enslaved black people in Galveston, Texas, of their freedom. 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. During the remarks Thursday, Biden honored 94-year-old Opal Lee, an activist who has been pushing for the national recognition of Juneteenth for more than 40 years. For details on more news, we invite you to join us at our website. That is voanews.com, also on the VOA mobile app. I'm Michael Brown reporting by remote VOA News.
Liberia, wake up, Mama Liberia, wake up, Mama Liberia, wake up, Mama Liberia. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia.
That's right. You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. We are here Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 o'clock. Coming up in minutes, we're going to be speaking with the chairman of the National Politburo of Liberia, Mr. Victor Ballo. Victor Ballo joins us from now till 9 o'clock, and we call it a day. But until then, we've been talking about the president's statement yesterday, the COVID-19 situation as it keeps upsurging in Liberia, and the government has announced that we should expect some stringent measures. People are beginning to speculate that there will be a lockdown, there will be, XYZ things. So the questions also that we should be asking ourselves, if there's a lockdown, we get back home as we did the first time, how prepared is the government? And why shouldn't we ask such question? And someone is offended by that. The people will certainly, that is something you should not even think about. People will obey. But as they're obeying the government's mandate, government also needs to reach out to them and take care of them. When you see thousands of dollars circulating, being dished out among lawmakers that were elected as servants of the people, but they are masters over the people. Let me read a few comments in our first segment. Kevin Dopo says, good morning, Matthias. Watching from Freeport this morning. Thank you, Kevin. Krubo Weir Johnson said, the president left your voicemail again. Mustafa Sherman says he's following from his books before Boy's office on Front Street. Thank you, Mustafa. Buama Gatawes Sunion, listening to Sky straight from the heart. Alfred and Sumana Talawale say, good morning, Sky TV. I'm watching from Algiers. Eugene Harris said the government officials will be the first to get coronavirus this time around. Well, that is not a good one. I don't say that. Martin Wiyama Brown said, Matthias, I heard the president calling healthcare workers resilient and gallant. The president is definitely right. Healthcare workers are resilient, but now the affairs of the resilient and gallant, are they satisfied with the level of support they are receiving from the government? Are they well off in terms of their livelihoods to enable them take care of others? Are they happy to put on their cliffs to save lives? I hope the government will see reason to take care of their healthcare, of the healthcare workers, before they can start making those sacrifices. Kabamanju says, good morning, Matthias. The president is now serious in the fight against COVID-19 in Liberia. I listened to him last night. His COVID music contains all the measures that we must all follow. Why didn't he declare those measures mandatory last night as the first move? We are tired of listening to those vague stage-managed statements. Does he know how many persons can get affected in 24 hours? The first stimulus package was pocketed. Too sad. Clifton Burma Hilton said, good morning, buddy. Good morning, Clifton. Who should too much honey? Following from Accra, Ghana. Honorable Safar says, good morning, Matthias. It's Sky Communications family and the peace-loving people of Liberia. Listening to this weekend edition of my favorite show for my comfort zone in the federal capital, Abuja. Let's again listen to that Kobe song, an inspirational song, a motivational song. We draw motivation from that. And then while we await our guest coming. But maybe some of you who wanted to phone in quickly, yes, let's open the lines again. Call us on the numbers 077777107, 07777221223. The numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. So let's hear you. We stay taking calls. If you're watching us on Facebook and maybe it's cracking due to internet connectivity or so or whatever, you can just switch to the YouTube, and our producers are pinning the YouTube link right there on the Facebook, on our Facebook page. Our YouTube is Sky FM and TV Liberia. So you're certainly going to see us there. We are platforms to disseminate our information to ensure that you, our listeners, can get nothing but better coverage, better reports, so that when we, Sky FM, come to report from your program or whatever we are invited, or maybe we're going live from wherever, then you have to consider that, yes, this is going to go well because it's on several platforms. So yes, you're listening to Straight from the Heart. 7777107. If you're there, now we're also interested in doing business. Business is very good. If we don't do business on these radios that we run, we mostly find it difficult to fund our activities and even take care of our people, the staff in the various institutions. So yes, come with your business, come with your art, come to sit with us and talk about the issues. Come and say, Matthias, I want to discuss this issue in our community. And as well as yes, come, you're welcome. We're going to sit down and have a conversation with you. Mr. Victor Barlow is in studio. But I would like to take a break quickly and hear, just a few lines of this music. Let it inspire us a little bit. The COVID-19 song is Take You. All right. So we'll be right back. And all right. So yes, let's quickly get a few lines of the song and that's all a few things.
Exclusively at allliberia.com.
Coronavirus. We are at a crossroad where the world is hit by coronavirus, declared as a pandemic. But there is hope.
This is Julian, shake. It's humanity with great humility, with empathy, we must victorious. The world is a big old place, but it's a global feeling. Let's show love and care to the world. There is hope, the world vaccine, you will never win coronavirus. There is hope. And when we find a vaccine, you will never win coronavirus.
I know I cannot see, but coronavirus doesn't care who's blind or who can see. We wash our hands with soap and water every day, or use sanitizer. God, forgive us. Save the world and stop coronavirus. God, forgive us. Save the world and stop coronavirus.
I said together we can do it, yeah. Together we can make it, we can see it, I said together we can do it, together we can make it, corona, yeah. Wash my head, I wash my head. But he spell my brother, man. Don't touch your friend, I know you spell.
The whole world is hate with a virus, you can never break us. Fight and overcome it. It's your head. You're not the world. We are resilient people. We will never be broken. We will never be broken. With this coronavirus. Our people and our nations. That's where we come from. Hey, how did we get here?
Coronavirus never coming here. Tell it, pulling up for you, Liberia for you. If we unite our brothers and sisters, we can heal the world for real. Let's positive, no negativity. For better, for worse, we can save Liberia.
Fellow Liberians, let us all continue to wash our hands often with soap, clean water, or use sanitizer at all times.
That's President George's voice there. That's his project, by the way. He sponsored that particular song. And he put his voice in it, encouraging people to wash their hands and ensure that follow the preventive measures. But in so doing, I challenge the president to lead by example. Whether he's taking the vaccine, that is unbeknownst to us, because the public officials who took the vaccine, like Joseph Yoma Boakai, Ambassador Joseph Yoma Boakai, that was out there. We heard it in the news, So the president leads by example. I'm very sure many of his followers will be trooping for the vaccine. But right now we have the chairman of the National Politburo of Liberia, Mr. Victor Barlow, is in studio. Good morning, Mr. Barlow. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Brother Matthias Yeni, and good morning to...
It's Matthias Labindi. Yeni is at Centaur now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's my brother, by the way.
All right, Brother Labindi, thank you for the invite, and I'm very happy to be here this morning in order for us to discuss issues of national concern.
Yeah, I want to begin by asking you first about this issue of, not issue, by the way. The Politburo, in my mind, is not, what it used to be. When Dole and other guys were there, we used to always hear something in the news that this public official spoke at the Politburo and all of that. It was really vibrant. This, so far it's one of the biggest intellectual, intellectual platforms in the country.
Okay.
What's happening with it? I heard you in the news lately because of what happened between you and the EPS officers. You were not in the news for any reason. The Politburo are being just quiet. What's going on?
First of all, the Politburo has been, since my leadership, has been very much active. We have been involved with several national discussions. Like, for example, currently we have formed a coalition with a group called a youth organization called COLI, which is a coalition for the restoration of Liberia's 5%.
5%?
5% equity. 2014, then President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration had a nationwide consultation on the issue of our national oil, where all of the 15 counties participated in the forum to decide as to how the law, which is the National Petroleum Law, would be like. And the citizens made their own input with reference to coming on recommendation, setting aside 5% equity, which is to be placed in a citizen trust fund to be managed by sound financial management expert. Okay, So 2019, this administration was able to surreptitiously change it without the consultation of those that particularly put that law together.
This George Weah administration.
Yeah, just George Weah administration. And what is so much frustrating is that President Weah was then a senator when that law was passed in the interest of the Liberian people. Okay, to see him, colluding with some elements again to come and, secretly amend that law, we think is highly devilish. So we formed that.
But there were lawmakers. The president is not in charge of transforming or changing laws on the books. The lawmakers do that. So why are you bringing the president into this?
Of course, but the situation here is after the lawmaker formulate any law, before it become a law, the president has to sign it, and it was signed and passed into law, printed in handbook at the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So thereby making him to be also part of that particular syndicate. So we have formed that particular.
So what is the coalition doing? What energy do you have to ensure that you write that particular thing? It's been done, like you said, signed and sealed.
Okay, so what we've done is that because it was secretly done, and later on it came up in the public. Ambula Mamed, this guy that used to work with Prime FM, how they call him? Oh, he used to talk like Mamadi Diakite.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. He too. They all form a coalition.
That's Matthew Yemplu,
and they asked the Politburo, being a vibrant civil society institution, to form part of the coalition for us to foster this identical agenda. So what we firstly did is that we wrote the president, we wrote the legislature, and we wrote a petition, we carried it there, we read it to them. And we also wrote the Liberia Petroleum Regulatory Authority, the PRA, something like that, so that they could go back to status quo ante. All right. Unfortunately for us, all of our communication landed on deaf ears. Nobody, heeded to it. So what we resort to is that we have consulted about 5 different lawyers, headed by Councillor Fini Kanga. They are currently processing a litigation process against the government of Liberia at the Supreme Court
for the extraction of the 5%.
Yes, criminally extracting that particular portion of the law.
So the government of this government rigs lawsuit.
Certainly,
that's what you're saying.
Certainly, that is exactly what.
How strong is your legal team that you're putting together to show that take on the Georgia administration?
Good. Our legal team, we believe in our legal team because we have Councillor Finley Kanga. We also have Kofi Wu, is part of the legal team. The former Associate Justice, Councillor Justice Janet, is part of the legal team. We have Benedict Sano is also part of the legal team, along with Augustine To, Councillor G. Augustine To. So they are actually
they have read this particular law. They know that the government is in error.
It's in error, total error, because the law was not a law that was introduced in the House by a single lawmaker, but it was a consultation, a national consultation, where taxpayer money up to $900,000 were used by the government of Liberia at the time to have that consultation around the 15 counties. You understand? And stakeholders from the county, like the youth, the disabled, okay, the elders, every one of them were part of that particular consultation, and they came up with the conclusion that yes, at least that there be some level of reflection of our own natural resources on us, the dividend that will come, that there be some reflection on us, so that at least we will say, yes, we are proud to be Liberian and this particular resources is ours. All right. So the citizens themselves were the one that made that recommendation. It was not a specific lawmaker or the president that made that recommendation, so that at least they could just sit down anytime because I introduce a law so I can scratch it out anytime. No.
So in response to my question about how active is the Politburo, you've gone to give me a lot of information about this action you're taking. So it's no longer, as it used to be, like an intellectual center where people come and talk things. You are now involved into advocacy beyond just bringing people to talk issues.
Certainly, because one thing I don't want to give much credence to is that all of the time engaging politicians, bringing them on your table, the person come, they leave $500, $1,000. At time, if you have critical national issues, and maybe if that person is involved, maybe you'll be thinking about saying, let me just forget about that man, I brought a man here.
Because he support us.
Yeah, because similar thing happened before. There was this issue about Brandon Samukai or his involvement into certain corruption allegations. We tried to, raise that situation. One of the hurricane calls, my old man used to come to us. Just
Brother Samuka was one of the frequent, visitors of the Politburo
at the time. So the president started to discourage. I said, no.
One of your members.
One of our members, former members. You understand? The man used to be part of the Politburo, so we beg you just forget. I said, no. If we can do it to the government, let us also do it to those in opposition.
Okay. Tell us about your situation recently with the Executive Protective Service. Did you take the photograph of a vehicle the EPS were in, or you took a photograph of the bad road?
Our security sector is gradually metamorphosing, or not gradually, but has metamorphosed into a partisan security sector, security force. All right. I was coming from Brouville. Then I went to visit my sisters in Brouville. While returning, the road between Loking Town and that of Sion Town is highly deplorable. Okay. So I decided to photograph the road. I think you can see there.
I'm seeing it.
Okay. So I brought my hand out while sitting in the keke. I brought my hand out to snap the deplorable condition of the road, so that at least I could have a flag. This is red light. Okay. And I will come to that as well. Right. So when I snapped the photo, not knowing this, EPS board Mark 87 was behind me, and they saw me photographing. So they just came with that kind of speed, as though we are in a rebellious time, and crossed in front of the keke. Yeah, in front of the keke. And the keke board, when you move, will flog you. Never thought that actually, get to. So, the men that the keke got to stop. I had the guy stop. 6 men rushed to me, give the phone. I don't want to use some of the words that they use.
But there's a family radio program.
So, one guy was sitting beside me and said, Bob, give the phone to avoid problem. So I hand over the phone. All of the photos I took, they deleted everything, forgetting to know that normally my phone, whenever I take photo, it can be uploaded
automatically.
Google. Yeah, automatically.
Okay.
So when they deleted all of the photos, I still went back to Google and I downloaded my photos. You understand? But what really get to me was when the EPS guy said, we know you're the politician and 24/7 you're taking all kind of photos and posting on Facebook to bring the country image back. You understand? It really get to me, and it was based on that I had the interview right here with one of our senior journalists who also work with the station, and it was flagged around. Later on, I heard them saying that I was stealing their boss. I don't know whether there is any law.
I listened to Guardian Moore. I actually wanted to call him now, but he has already responded to you. Just like you were talking on the radio, I thought to bring it out. I listened to Guardian Moore. He's the public relations officer of the EPS.
Okay.
He said, you kept on taking the photo of the vehicle that the EPS officers were in.
But what have they done? Have they violated any law, or have they violated anybody's right, thereby, prompting me to take the photo of their vehicle? Did they? What were they doing? You can see the photos. These are all road photos if you look at it. Even yesterday, I was in the red light belt. The early administration constructed the road between red light and Pakopin.
Yeah.
Now, see the deplorable nature of that road right now. Taking taxpayer money and not doing something that is tangible for your own people. You see the road? This is the road between red light market going down to Pakopin. You understand?
So this place is a stockpile of garbage. That's what we see all the time. Yeah.
And besides being the stockpile of garbage, the road is as well very deplorable. And this area used to be, prior to 2011, she was quickly able to do a quick impact project there. Okay. So that is a situation that we all need to join in. That any leader, whenever you take over, try to do things so that at least the next leader that will come will not come there to suffer again. They will only think about forging their head to do new things.
And the direction of the Politburo now is to look at the ills in society and highlight them.
That is exactly
that's where you are.
Yeah, that is exactly our point.
What is your take on the fight against COVID-19? Both citizens' resilience, citizens' seriousness in adhering to preventive measures, and the government as well.
Yeah, everywhere around the world, every government is trying every means to see as to how they can be able to curtail or to stop the spread of the COVID-19. And when I enter in your intro, you said leader lead by example. We have seen people like the former Vice President Joseph Yuma Boakai appearing publicly and trying to stick his own shot to make people who believe in him to also go and take the vaccine. So what is the status of our own president? Has he really taken it? He hasn't up to now. So what actually will convince his own followers, those that believe in his tendency, those that believe in his leadership, to say, oh yes, our president has taken, the COVID-19 test. So at least, the vaccine, rather not test, but the vaccine has taken it. So at least let us go and take it. That will motivate them. Which one of them are the ministers, among the ministers, let's forget about the president. Like Samuel Tuwe, McGill, you have, how they call the guy, to the city mayor, okay, Jefferson Koji, have they taken the vaccine? So what will motivate the Liberian people to say, oh yes, our president or head of state has had the guts to say, oh yes, it's necessary that I take the vaccine. All around the world, all of the leaders, like recently the United States President Joe Biden, publicly seen taking his vaccine. The British Prime Minister, Ray Ghana, they have all taken the Sierra Leone. But for our president up to now, besides that Malagasy bitter root that came the other time, he took it.
Got a bitter root.
Oh yeah, okay. But he is yet to set the pay for at least the citizen to follow suit.
So what can you say as an opinion leader too to the citizens? Because if you just say that we're encouraging the citizens as well to adhere to preventive measures, it seems like because the president has not done it, they should not do it.
No, that is not what I'm saying. But it just showed how irresponsible the president or the government is trying to handle the issues surrounding the fight against the COVID-19. But as far as our international partners, whom we believe in, are doing all of their best to help curtail the spread of the COVID-19, I want to encourage our citizens to at least, take the COVID-19 vaccine.
Mr. Barlow, your platform, the Politburo, is not just an intellectual platform. It's an advocacy platform.
Yeah.
There's this mounting call, rousing call every time about the issue of the War Crimes Code, and many people, many citizens, if you ask people individually, some will say no, I don't want it. Some will say yes, we want it. And this government was in opposition, championed the call for the establishment of the code. What do you think right now? What do you see? What lenses are you using to observe this debate about the War Crimes Code?
In 2009, during the administration of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, I wrote a communication to the head of the ICC, then Maureen Ocampo, kindly calling on him to see as to how they can prevail on then President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to establish the War Crime Code. And their response then was, yes, they have received my communication and it's on the docket for proper viewing. That was their response. But I did not stop there. Recently, I wrote the Vice President of the United States also calling on the United States government. She should prevail on the Congress to see how best they can suppress this government to find all necessary means to establish War Crime Code.
What will you include something like suppress the government to? This is a sovereign state. Why would any nation or country, like even the United States?
There are diplomatic, measures. There are some, punishable measures that international partners can take on a government, on a sovereign state, if it fails to adhere to certain international norms. All right. Liberia is a signatory, even though one would say that the Rome Statute came into force around 2004, but so because of that, like the way Serena Seaforth, the Solicitor General, said before inculcated certain law within our laws that prevent them from being prosecuted for crime committed in Liberia. Will you also say that prior to the war coming to Liberia, was there any amendment in certain component of our law for the war to come? Was there any amendment? There was no amendment. People violently formed themselves and established all sort of rebellious or mutinous group, and it brought chaos in this country, like my hometown. Sinje, Grand Cape County. You go there, there is a grave there where over 250 persons were buried just within a day. Slaughter.
Massive.
Yeah, massive, massacre. You understand? Should that be let go free? No. If you would say the issue of impunity should go free, then when your child or your kid at home, when they go wrong, leave them. Don't punish them. But when the Zogo snatch your phone, leave the Zogo, let him go. Because we are all brothers and sisters. You can say that. How will posterity judge us tomorrow? Don't you think you're setting the path for the next generation to also follow suit? You know why Liberia continue to be backward? Because there has been no clear agenda set up by our national leaders, all right, to develop the country. Okay, this is a country that is so much blessed with over 35 different natural resources. I refer you to the Ministry of Land, Mines, and Energy, Liberia Natural Resource Map. 35 different natural resources Liberia alone has. Gambia does not have natural resources. They survive only on what? Groundnut and tourism. But see Banjul and see Monrovia, how filthy Monrovia is, and see Banjul. You understand? Total mismanagement of our economy. By certain people who, whenever they are not in government, they will all present themselves as though they are so good. At the end of the day, the moment they get there, it becomes different thing.
You've taken some steps. You've written the ICC as an organization. You've written the Vice President of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Meaning you are making some moves and things.
Sure.
What can you say? Do you think there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel?
Certainly there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. All right, because a civil society institution, along with the citizen, like recently, the chief prosecutor for Sierra Leone War Crime Court, I just forgot his name. He said one thing that the Liberians need to do, they all need to join forces, all right, to suppress the government, to force the government to sign it. Because what actually is president we are afraid of?
That's Allen White you're talking about.
Yeah, Allen White. What actually is he afraid of? Was he part of any group that brought crisis here? For me, I have no record of such. So he is indeed the rightful person to establish War Crime Court, because if you look at from 2005 to 2011, 2011 to 2017, the call for CDC was what? The establishment of War Crime Court. To the extent Molba Molu went to Ghana, he never met with Obama, but he came back, he said that he met with President Obama, and the extent discussed over 30 meetings, and Obama agreed to prevail on the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government at the time to bring War Crime Court. So why now are you saying that War Crime Court is not necessary?
Well, for some reason, there few things that many pundits have said out there, that maybe relationships we are all connected. So now some pundits also think that the fact that one of the most notorious warlords in this country is a supporter of the government, and several others as well. The government inherited a broken economy. The government inherited, a nation from the previous administration that it needs to repair. The War Crimes Code cannot be a priority now. Some other people also think that this government should should the CDC win election in 2023, it is during the last term, the second term of the government, that is going to ensure that War Crimes Code comes in, because it may just affect its support base should it venture into discussing the issue of bringing War Crimes Code to Liberia. What are your readings from all these analyses?
Okay, like I listened when President Weah assumed office. He had this national, dialogue with political parties, civil society institutions, and prominent Liberian at Bilakasa. The statement he made there, resulted to what we are seeing right now. If you will call opposition political parties and you being in opposition over the period of time, accusing the past administration for rampant corruption, then you now taking over and say that we are all brothers and sisters, and in fact, it's difficult to fight corruption. You are opening a serious Pandora box for serious corruption as it is right now. You understand? You can't say because you have a specific relationship with a killer, so because of that, you can establish War Crime Court.
That's not what the government have said, by the way. I just said political pundits.
Okay, political
pundits are doing their own analysis that way.
Yeah, those political pundits.
Do you agree with them?
I don't agree with them, because you can't say because those who established, those who brought war here or crisis in this country that led to the extermination of over 250,000 of our fellow compatriots should be let go because of the friendship you have built with that particular warlord. No.
So taking a mental flight back to yesterday when the Georgia administration, when the CDC was advocating for war crimes code, and now is in charge, he has the authority now to ensure that it comes to Liberia. What do you think is the reason why the government is still reneging on it?
Yeah, just as what you have raised in your analysis. Number one, their relationship with certain, rebellious elements. Okay, supporters of certain rebellious elements, like for example, Prince Johnson. This going election, Prince Johnson supported the CDC. All right, and also there were other rebel, fashion leaders that came on their side and supported them. All right, like for example, currently we have a General Power who used to also be a rebel, right? And this is a man who is on record for saying that he will establish crew defense force to protect
Ballo, let me inject something quickly. After the war, Mr. Ballo, I think we all agree to not refer to any of our citizens as rebels, right? So I think these people, they've gone past that life. We all know them, who they are, but referring to them as,
I said certain rebellious group. I'm referring to a group.
Okay.
All right. Not to a specific individual. Okay. But their action was rebellious against the state, which make me to refer to them as what? In their group as
so because of General Power's support to the government.
And he's on record. And he's on record for saying that he will establish a specific group called the Crew Defense Force just to protect President Weah, which is also tribalistic.
All these things you're reading out there, are you saying that they are all reasons why the government is yet to muster the courage?
These are some of the reasons, my brother. These are some of the reasons.
But few things we've heard about resources, money.
And I don't know, one of the senior members of the rebel group made a revelation which is yet to be found out properly by you, the press. He said that George Weah used to go on the front line to give them food, and they even used to smoke together. He's currently a lawmaker in the house.
He's prepared to prove it when the war comes.
He's saying that he's prepared to prove it. He have pictorial evidences against President George Weah. So who knows? Maybe Weah himself, because at that time he had his $85 million at the time, maybe he could, purchase some enough, weapons to supply those rebel group. Who knows? So maybe these are some of the reasons for which he's reneging to establish war crime code. But no free person of this crisis of the 14-year civil debacle that took place in this country will say they don't need justice. Everyone who has got nothing to do with the crisis in Liberia is calling for the establishment of war and economic crime code. Because if it is established, it will serve as a deterrence for future economic mongers or war mongers.
Okay, let me take you back. Let me take you up Capitol Hill, where there's this serious controversy right now, issue of 15K. And you come from an advocacy organization. We're talking about COVID-19 stimulus package could not reach the people, effectively in many areas, even New Cruton as well. When you woke up to the news of lawmakers receiving 15K and even one of them attempting to take it to Lays for development purpose, what came to mind? What are your analysis?
That alone shows how gullible, deceptive, and insincere our officials are to us as Liberians. Because we have been following the early administration. They established an entity called LACE, Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, that is responsible to carry on legislative projects. The legislator will only identify as to where he or she wants his project to be implemented, and his $68,000, which was then given by the Ellen administration, is remitted strictly in the account of LACE, and LACE will carry on the project through a vetting process where companies will apply to. But to look at a lawmaker, most of whom are really insincere to their own constituencies, to give them 15,000, you call it legislative engagement. What legislative engagement? Which one? How many times do they really have meetings with people? Which one of them? I remember 2014 when people in Cape Mount, even my very self at the time, not in civil society grouping, we campaigned luminary, and he will come to the Senate with some level of high, moral rectitude. Any longer.
What for?
Why? Because number one, his own responsibility, which has to do with oversight, he has neglected it. He don't care for the people
in the county.
In the county, he doesn't meet the people. In fact, he feels that he's a god. His own constituencies, before they visit him, they must write him 1 week ahead of time, and in fact, he has to approve it. If you come on your own, you will go back. In a sense, if you put an agenda together, say, oh, let's carry it to our lawmaker for viewing, you bring it, you wouldn't accept it. So long you don't call him and then go in the office, send somebody to come and fill form, and he reach to him 1 week ahead of time. Okay, is that what we call lawmaking or lawmaker? You must be accessible to your people. Your people, anytime when they need you, they must be able to see you. But since he became a senator of Grand Cape County, one day he has not had a what they call dialogue with the citizens to say, "Oh, this is what I have done as a senator for the county." Never has he done it.
President Weah was to some extent right to ask you people a rhetorical question when he visited it. Despite the educated people you people have here, why is the county this way? You agree with him?
Partially, I agree with him. But also, if you look at his own county of origin, Grand Crew, where he came from, there are also, in fact, it is said that when the Crew people lady can land on the pen from here all the way here, right? But look at the status of Grand Crew is in a deplorable state. Okay, so I agree with him partially for saying that yes, there are a lot of
I'm asking a question in relation to what you just said about Vani Sherman.
Yeah, there are a lot of educated guys in Grand Cape County. There are a lot of them who are like even in the early administration, who are educated, who could at least carry some level of development based on their connection with government. And one of those persons is Senator Vani Sherman then. Okay. And even now, the connection he has with this current administration, Cape Town is supposed to be one of those countries that's supposed to be boasting of economic growth, that's supposed to be boasting of infrastructure development. Because if you trace the record of Cape Town when it comes to the production of mineral gold, they have King George, the largest gold producing area in Liberia now. But go and see the living condition of the people there.
In King George?
Yeah, King George. In a deplorable nature. The people are not living in good condition, at least to talk about the entire county. You understand? So it is a serious problem. And like you said, the statement he made, yes, I partially agree with him. Okay, and Councilor Sherman is one of those persons who actually I think he was actually referring to, because the level of connection he has, and because it is in fact because of his connection, the people of Cape Town said, "Let us elect him, and you'll bring some change."
Now look at
the counties.
When you read on the U.S. Embassy's website about Councilor Sherman's involvement into judicial corruption and all of that barbarian thing, have you visited the county since that news came about? What has been the reaction of the people of Grand Cape regarding their son's involvement in international corruption?
The people are sad. The people are disappointed. They are disdain about that particular characterization of their lawmaker. Okay, and mean it in him, because the level of respect then they had for him, and coming up with this kind of a characterization make them to be much more disappointed in him. In fact, people are saying that they are hearing news that he want to contest. It will be a waste of resources. On a serious note, he should not even make the attempt to say he want to contest in Cape Town, because
what for?
The people, their expectation, what they expected from him. For example, consistent visit in the county, looking at the problem of your people, reflecting them in the House of Legislature. And you understand? In the House of Senate. These were the expectations of the people of Cape Town County. Unfortunately, the people are sad. They are disappointed in Vani Sherman style of leadership. On a serious note,
15K. Let's zero in quickly. What do you think should have been done? Should they have gone to where?
If they were people who were in the interest of the citizens, I know that before that 15K business could have come out from the angle of the executive, because it was the executive that disbursed that fund to them, right? Before the accept say amount if they were people, all of them. I'm not saying just few, all of them, if they were lawmakers who were in the interest of the citizen, they would have engaged, just as the way they say constituency visit, right? Legislative in the program. If there were people who were actually intending to do right for their people, they would have come back in their various districts and counties to consult. The executive has infused certain amount, which is $15,000 or because I'm hearing 30,000. This is just the first phase that came. What do you people think? Should we accept it? Because since they received the money, it was just a few days when Darius Dillon came about to inform the public, all right, that they have received 15,000, but no lawmaker has come up. Even Akaros Grade that is flagging a lot of posts against Darius Dillon today. I wonder he came in district number 8 to say he has received $15,000. He hasn't. None of them came to their various district or counted like the senators or like how do you call it, Dillon that came up to say that we received 15,000 and will expeditiously, that's a statement he used, use it in the interest of the county. But besides Darius Dillon, none of them came up to say we will do this, or in fact we have received 15,000 each from the executive so that we can do a legislative engagement with the people. None of them. That alone justify how corrupt they are.
You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. We're here Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 o'clock. Today is the 18th day of June 2021. My name is Matthias Labindi. The Ministry of Health has taken some internal action, requesting that some 50% of its staff stay home and work from home because of the increase of the coronavirus cases. The memo from the ministry is read to my possession. But Mr. Victor Barlow is the chairman of the National Polling Bureau of Liberia. Is my guest this morning. We have 11 minutes to go. Let's hear from you. If you want to participate, call us on those numbers: 0777 107, 0777 107, 0777 221 223, 0777 221 223. The numbers you can call us to participate on the program this morning. But stay if you're there watching us anywhere around the world, call us on WhatsApp. That's 777 221 223, or IMO as well. You'll be live. Kabamanju says, suppress this government is the wrong statement to use in diplomatic discussions. Mr. Studio Guest, please take it back. We are a sovereign country and must be treated as such. I sometimes wonder why we haven't seen reason to recognize the need to establish the War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia void of foreign involvement. No need for suppression on this. Charlie Wilson says, the guest in the studio should stop spewing. It's right, it's good, and it's necessary to fight for the living ones now. Better the lives of the... Let's move on to this person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I'm Lawrence Asking from Benton Street, Snapper Hill.
Go ahead.
Yeah, welcome to the studio guest. I think the best thing and the offer that Liberia can offer now to the international community is to commission a War and Economic Crimes Court, because it's getting to be overdue. When President Weah was UNICEF Peace Goodwill Ambassador, he said that all perpetrators of the war will come to book. Ellen did her part by the international people getting on pressuring her for child stealing. And she did that. She said that for one man business, the 4 million or 5 people will not suffer. So she told the international board that here is stealer, get to do with him. But what is the fear of those perpetrators of the war and the economy? You have your lawyers going to the UN, they're not going to put you on firing squad, you discuss like how we are discussing freely. What is the fear? The man in Kenya has gone to the UN 2 or 3 times and said, go and won't get right, we'll send you back. Roland Babo is already free. What are they afraid of? I think the best thing that Liberia can offer to Liberia and the international community is the War and Economic Crimes Court, so that we can allay all these allegations now. Unborn generation, maybe 2 years after now, will ask whether what happened during this time, and that can be data on our archive. It will be the second part of our Liberian history. So we need it. President, we are the best we can do for international partners to support you. The War and Economic Crimes Court is happening right in Switzerland. I think I started getting from people who are involved in this war, investigating them. I think you have to do on the ground so that the case of Liberia can allay. And
Okay.
that would be good for Liberia.
Thank you. We have a few minutes to go. Let's hear from this other person. Good morning.
Morning, Matthias.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
My name is David E. Harris, and I call from my residence. Matthias, on your first segment,
Yeah.
content to what you are receiving briefing on a daily basis on the issue of this coronavirus. He's supposed to take the lead by taking the vaccine publicly to encourage Liberians to take it. Since he don't want to take it, I'm calling on all Liberians on the issue of preventive measures to go and take this vaccine for their own safety. On the next issue I are discussing, Matthias, for me, I want the international community to press this government, press them, hold them with iron hands. All the support that they giving
Hold on,
them,
Yaki.
I want the international community to withhold them so they can make sure the issue of the war and economic crime could be
Okay.
established.
Thank you, Harris. And Liberia is a sovereign state, so that's another thing. Let's hear Yaki Williams, there from Texas, USA. Go ahead, Yaki.
Yeah, no, to be corrected, New Jersey.
New Jersey,
Yeah,
sorry.
thank you.
Yeah, New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. Matthias, we talking about this war crime code that we needed and we need international support. But let me remind you that we're not going to get support from one of our international partners by the name of America or United States implicitly. They supported some warring faction in the country to get Taylor out. So that state government confronted them when mortar was falling on people in Monrovia, and those bodies were all laid in front of the U.S. Embassy. And those mortar shells were used by Lord King from Guinea. Those were military supply that they gave to the Guinean government, and they never dispute that. Those are things that will embarrass them in any prosecution against the diplomatic corner or whoever. They're not interested. That's the reason why America has not signed up to international treaty about the war crime code in The Hague. Their citizens don't go there, but they send their prosecutors to go and prosecute other people. We're interested in the war crime code. We got to look for other countries like Germany and probably maybe Japan to help us to maybe establish it. But we're not going to get support from America. They supported other warring factions. They were involved from the beginning till Taylor left the country. And the atrocities that were committed, we can blame all the Liberian people that we want to blame as general, how they take maybe from women's stomach. We saw all those things happening. All of us are victims somehow. But for America to support prosecution that those guys they give testimony and evidence against them for the support that they gave the Model or the UNIMO at the time from Sierra Leone or other African leaders alive today supported other groups when ECOMOG was in Liberia. No, this broad, this thing is in broad. So we need some justice system, but to be crying on our international partners such as America to help us. Yet from now,
Okay,
but
Yaki.
it's not.
Okay, Yaki. Thank you. It's Yaki Williams. Lastly, let's hear from you, Mr. Barlow, as we conclude. You're listening to somebody who wrote on, Kabama, and you said, no, you cannot suppress this government because Liberia is a sovereign state. All we can do is to collaborate and work, make some moves to ensure that we have it. But let's squeeze in one person quickly. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is David Dickerson.
Go ahead.
Calling from around the president.
Go ahead.
Matthias, the issue regarding the war crime code is there. When the president of Liberia came out and told the Liberian people to be their own security, it was an end. They showed that the president is not serious for justice in the country. So the court issues your personally. Let me announce it more ahead. I bought my gun, I keep it in my house. Any criminal will kill you. I will kill you, shoot in your head. Bye. Thank you.
I hope your gun is registered. When you talk about gun being on the radio, you get gun here. Now be more making check you get call let's say your voice, you get gun. Not mine. Let's conclude.
Let me say this. We all agree that in diplomacy there are certain languages that can be used, but there are certain courses that diplomatic partners can use or action that they can use that if you look at it, is an act of suppression. We saw it against Charles Taylor when he was president then, and he was now wanted to conform to certain international norms. There was embargoes, arm embargo, and there was traveling restrictions.
And George Bush made a statement from the US.
Yeah.
I want Charles Taylor to leave now.
Yes. You understand? Even though we are a sovereign nation, but that was done. And what the Liberian people needed, that also happened, which is peace. You understand? And I heard one caller saying that America will now, the caller from the United States saying that America will not support Liberia. If America would not have been interested in fighting crime in Liberia, it would not have spent millions of dollars to bring peace in this country. It would not have arrested Chucky Taylor, Charles MacArthur Taylor, who is a citizen of the United States, for bringing chaos in this country or supporting or committing crime in this country. Okay, currently he's in jail, I think, for 99 years, something like that, in the United States. So if they were not interested in justice, they would not have done that against somebody who is an American citizen. I mean, against somebody who is an American citizen for committing crime in another country. Okay, so I believe that the United States of America will support this government in every way or whatsoever way that tend to promote democracy in Liberia. And let me say this. Anyone who says that justice is not important, the issue of economic crime code or war crime code is not important. Whenever the Zogo take your phone, leave him, because why? The man is your brother or sister. Whenever an armed robber go to your house to harass you, let them take everything, because we are all brothers and sisters.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Barlow. It was a pleasure having him here again today. Victor Barlow is the chairman of the National Politburo of Liberia. The wise man once said, "Don't be afraid to start over again. This time, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting with from experience. You failed yesterday, you got an experience. When you start over, you're not going to be starting from the beginning, but you're going to be starting based on experience you had yesterday." My name is Matthias Labindi.